what you enjoy doing, or if you have an idea that you might want to monetize, but you don't know how to do it, you need to stay for this entire video. We have an expert with us today that's going to tell us how to monetize and change our mindset so that we can. So, Mr. Bart, can you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, my name is Bart Merrell. I am the side hustle samurai. You can see my samurais in the background there and on my shirt. And the reason I take that on is because a lot of your business and your financial lessons can be found in the Bushido code, which is the ancient samurai code that is out there from back in the 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 of Japan. And so I just think it just fits so well into what we talk about when we talk about business and talk about monetizing your mindset. And so I help people identify their ideal side hustle so that they can create financial security and have the resources to deal with whatever happens when what happens, when life happens, because it will happen. It's happened to me several times.
Well, you know what? That would make this even more intriguing. Can you tell us one time that it happened to you?
How about I show you one time that it happened to me?
Oh, wow. So should I get goosebumps or should you all get goosebumps? Whoa.
So I lost my leg last year, March 25th of last year. And I found out in about October of 2023. And because of insurance reasons and why start chopping off body parts to make the holidays more happy, I decided to wait till 2024 to get the amputation done. And during that time, after the shock and awe was over, my thoughts process was, okay, this is going to happen. There's nothing I can do about it. So since it's going to happen, how can I monetize it? About 6 months after my surgery, I contracted with my prosthetist to help people, to consult with people who are going to have to go through what it is I went through. And so within 6 months after I had my amputation, I am making money because I had my amputation.
Okay, my husband will tell the world it takes a lot to get her speechless. But first of all, thank you so much for sharing this with us, because this is not only going to bless the listeners, you showing the reality of what happened to shift your mindset has like jolted me. So number one, thank you so much for giving us that visual. So if I could ask, was that due to an injury or is that due to an illness? Because it sounds like you had time to prepare.
So I was dropped from a ropes course back in 2012. It was on a trip to Canada to a personal development retreat. And here's the funny story behind it. It has nothing to do with monetize your mindset, but my wife is Japanese and she's big into feng shui. And I'd already planned and paid for this trip, and it wasn't cheap. About a month before I was supposed to leave, she comes out of her office and she says, "You can't go." What? I can't go where? You can't go to Canada. It's a bad direction. I can't live my life on your feng shui. She protested a little bit, went back in her office, and she came back out and she says, "No, it's a horrible direction. This could affect you for the rest of your life." And here we are 13 years later. And so what happened after I went on, I didn't listen to her. I went on my trip. I was dropped from the ropes course. It was the last day and I had 2 bus rides and a plane ride home. By the time I got home, I was swollen clear to my knee. I was running 102-degree fever. And it was the worst pain that I had ever had. Went to the doctor, got it x-rayed. He comes out and says, "It's not broken. It's just a bad sprain." I found out 9 years later that it wasn't actually broken. It was crushed on the back and the front. My ankle bone was crushed on the back and the front. And it had been hot and swollen for 11 years now. And the ankle bone just deteriorated. And the only thing to do was to get it amputated. And to be honest, I feel the best in 12 years. I'm more mobile. I can get around. The pain is a lot less. And I'm doing things that I couldn't do when I had my messed up ankle.
Wow. Well,
so that's what happened. That's a long story for your question, but it's kind of fun.
You gave a great answer. It was very short and straight to the point, because you know the listeners that has these inquiring minds, instead of them focus on the content that you're going to provide, they're going to be like, well, what happened to his leg? So,
and so if you're a guy, what did you learn from that lesson? Listen to your wife. She knows what she's talking about.
And I wish that I could laugh, but honestly, it's true. When your wife has a bad feeling and she's like, "No, we need to stop." You have a wife for a reason. You need to listen.
That's right.
Because you didn't listen, and you ended up getting your leg amputated. What were you doing prior to this? How has this injury changed your mindset about money?
So let me throw another one out there. So before this happened, my wife, she called me from Japan one time and she says the initial test indicated cancer. And at this time I had one income stream. I wasn't doing multiple things. This was back probably around 2004, 2005. And of course, my first thought was I could lose my wife. But my second thought was we can't afford this. So I can't. Why do my thoughts go to money so quickly? Because you know what the saying is, money isn't everything.
Yes.
Or is it when you don't have any or you don't have enough? And I'm afraid that I don't have enough to drop everything and be by her side as she goes through whatever it is she's going to have to go through. And so the end of the story is after 8 sleepless nights waiting for the biopsy to come back, we got the answer that it wasn't cancer, that it wasn't cancerous. So she had to have a surgery to remove the tumor. And we were blessed to not have to worry about the money thing, but it did get me thinking, and it just opened my mind. And to go back to what my dad taught me, my dad was a farmer in southern New Mexico, but he wasn't only a farmer, he had his hands in many things in the agricultural realm, stuff that he enjoyed. He was part owner in a dairy in Idaho, part owner in a mushroom warehouse in Utah, part owner in a produce warehouse in Phoenix, Arizona, that used to be where Diamondback Stadium now stands. And so he made a lot of money doing different things. And so when this happened, I was just like, okay, I need to fall back on the stuff that my dad showed me as a kid. And he never set me down and taught me the birds and the bees of business of what he was doing. He just did it by example. And then he encouraged me when I started my first side hustle at age 15. I had a mobile disco set up, and I'd go and do dances. And in my small town in southern New Mexico, nobody was hiring. And so I actually had to go out and create my own opportunity. I rented the community center, hired an off-duty cop for security. Mom and dad took money at the door. I spun records. Everybody had a great time. And so he encouraged me and helped me with that at age 15. And so that's kind of where the start happened.
Well,
and so for me, it comes naturally. If something crosses my path, I think, can I monetize it? And I don't try and monetize everything, but I think about it. Can I do this? It's like when I had to have the amputation. That was that was the second thing that came across my mind. I was like, okay, this is going to happen. How can I put this to my benefit and make money with it?
Okay. So leading off of that, what you just said, this is one thing that caught my eye about you. You help people create financial security by monetizing what they already know.
Yes.
One thing that you said that's very important, that when things come across your way, you're thinking about how can you monetize it. A lot of people don't think that far because they're so caught up in their lives or they're so miserable in their jobs, but they don't think about that. So Bart, can you talk a little bit about that, monetizing?
Okay, so I actually have a book. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes, I do.
Monetize Your Mindset. And it's not a how to do book. It's a how to think book. And what I do is I help people think about what do you like to do? And I give examples of what things that people have liked to do that they've been able to turn into a stream of income. Talk about what do you need to do? And that's what people overlook. I didn't like to get my leg cut off, but it's something that I needed to do. And so I monetized it. My poor wife, I'm going to get in trouble for throwing her under the bus all the time. But several years ago, she decided that it was time for me to lose weight. She said, "Hun, I love you, but I'm getting more than I bargained for, and I would like to see a little bit less of you." And she was being funny, but it was true. I was not looking good. And sometimes us guys, we can look in the mirror and we're going to go, yeah, I look pretty good. And so when I decided it was time to lose weight, not that it was, that's not an enjoyable process for most people, but it's something that I needed to do. And so my natural thing is, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get paid for it, like Marie Osmond and Dan Marino, who are the spokespeople for Nutrisystem at the time. And so I didn't even know how I was going to lose the weight. I didn't even know what program I was going to use, but I went out and I said, okay, I want to give my wife what she bargained for. I want to get back to the weight I was when I was married, back to myweddingweight.com. I went to GoDaddy. I purchased back to myweddingweight.com. And then I went in search of what was going to be the miracle cure to help me lose lose weight. I held on to that domain for over 8 years before I lost the weight that gave me something to promote. And so that's what I do. When something happens, I think about it. And I tell people that good, bad, or ugly, things are going across your path that you need to stop and think, can I do this? And then the third thing is, what are you already doing that you can monetize? So an example of that is when I graduated from college, I bought my first house. I took the room I wanted. I rented out the other rooms, and it paid for my mortgage and then some. Then when I got married, I rented out the basement. Me and my wife lived upstairs. Then when we moved into our current house, I looked for a house that had an accessory apartment, and that apartment pays for more than half of my mortgage right now. Ever since I bought my first house, it's paid for at least half of my mortgage on something that I'm already doing. I needed a place to live, so why not get some of it paid for? And that income stream is almost passive, unless I'm searching for a new renter, or if I'm, getting things fixed in the apartment or whatever, cleaning it after someone moves out. That money comes in every month. No, I don't do anything. And well, that's just stuff that I've done because of what my dad showed me as a kid. And that's pretty much what's in this book. It just teaches you how to think and how to process and how to maybe look at life a little bit and get out of that job if you don't like it.
Okay, so what would you tell the person who's saying, I don't have a skill, there's really nothing particular that I like, but in my mind, listening to you, there has to be something that at least 95% of most people can do to create a side hustle. Can you please talk to us more?
I would say 100%. Have you heard the story Acres of Diamonds?
Oh, I have. Yes, I've read it. Yes. I've heard the stories in one of my books.
So one of our stories as our family is not Acres of Diamonds. It's called Acres of Pig Poop.
Oh, I saw that on your list. Let's talk about that.
So my dad, even in death, taught me lessons. So dad was, like I said, he was a pig farmer. I grew up in a small town in southern New Mexico. There were more pigs than people in my town because of us. But like I said, dad wasn't just a pig farmer. He was a businessman. And anytime on our farm, we had roughly somewhere 15 to 20,000 pigs on our farm. We had 2,000 sows. Do you know what a sow is?
That's the big hog, right?
It's the mama pig.
Oh,
okay. And so a mama pig can give birth 2.5 times a year. And on our farm, we averaged 9.97 pigs per litter. And so if you do the math, that equals a lot of pig poop. And we had these 3 man-made ponds that we called the lagoons. They were settling ponds that we would divert the stuff into. One year it'd be in this one, next year this one, and just rotate and rotate for 30 years probably that my dad was doing the pig farm. Then he decided it was time in his 60s, time to shut down the pig operation and go in search of his next big thing. And he never found it, just like 𝐸𝐸𝐵 from Acres of Diamonds. He never found his next big thing. He died at age 81. We sold the farm about 2 years after that, 2.5 years after that. And the new owner of our farm was going to level those man-made ponds. And they'd been dry on top for years. But the heavy grader was grading over that to make everything smooth and broke through the crust and sunk up to its belly in this black muck. They called in experts to look at the stuff. And right there on the spot, they offered the new owners of our farm $2,000 a ton for the stuff. That's $1 a pound for old pig poop. 500 tons of old pig poop was Acres of Diamonds right under my dad's nose. So I tell people, so what about you? Have you found your Acres of Diamonds? Are you right on the verge of discovery, or are you overlooking them like 𝐸𝐸𝐵 and my dad? Because they could be right in your own backyard, right within your grass, right there under your nose. You just need to be aware of the opportunities that are all around you. It could be as little as my wife. She speaks Japanese fluently because she's Japanese. If she so desired, she could do a Japanese conversation class and get paid quite well just by doing a little advertising. Do you like to play the guitar? Do you like to play the piano? Do you like calligraphy? Here's one from my book. Do you like to get your nails done? There's a company out there called Jamberry, and they were the first do-it-yourself nail wrap company. And 2 sisters back in 2010, they would go into the salon and get their nails done, and it was $50-$60 a pop. And one time walking out of the salon, one of them said to the other, I wonder if we could do this cheaper if we did it ourselves. They did a little research. They searched. No one was doing do-it-yourself nail wraps. So they got their hands on some product, which was pretty hard to do because the nail salons wouldn't let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they created these do-it-yourself nail wraps. They took it to a trade show, came home with a stack of orders. All they had was the prototypes there at the trade show. Mom's garage, they all went into Mom's garage as a big family and filled these orders. So they did it again, went to another trade show, came out with more orders. They decided they had something that was bigger than they knew what to do with. And so they decided they're going to turn it into a company. And they really only wanted to do something fun, get together as sisters and family, and make a little extra money.
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, 5 years later, they sold 50% of the company for a multi-million-dollar deal, all just because one asked the other, I wonder if we can do this ourselves for cheaper.
And it was right there under their nose, like you said about your dad.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that I can make you a millionaire. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's not what Monetize Your Mindset is about.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens if you just pay attention to the opportunities. I'm about creating financial security. So when your wife calls you from Japan and says, I might have cancer, or when your doctor says, we're going to have to cut your leg off. Both of those situations, even though when I had my amputation, I had multiple streams coming in, my biggest percentage of income, probably 50, 60%, was dog training. I own a dog training company because I like dogs. And so I get paid very well to play with other people's dogs. I wasn't going to be able to do that. And I didn't know how long it was going to be. I had no idea. I've never had a leg cut off before.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though walking through those hospital doors was the most terrifying thing I've ever done, right up there close to the top was I was worrying about money. How long until I get back on my feet? I mean, my foot.
Mm-hmm.
You can laugh at that. It's a joke.
I'm like, can I laugh?
And I didn't know. My goal was to get back to dog training in 4 months. And I did it in 3.5. But even with the mindset that I have, I still worry about money when something happens. Is my emergency fund big enough? Is my other streams, having those other streams of income relieved a lot of the stress.
That is so powerful. But then you said something earlier that I know I have to have this answer to for the listeners. You said you even monetized losing your leg. How did you do that?
So I contracted with my prosthetist, the guy that makes legs for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I help people through what they're going to have to go through like I did. So I answer questions. I meet with people that either have just had their leg amputated or before they get their leg amputated. I wanted answers to questions. How bad is it going to hurt? How long am I going to be out of commission? I wanted answers. I went down the YouTube rabbit hole like you couldn't believe, looking for answers. And I could find some, but I couldn't find a lot. And so I was looking to talk to whoever I could had an amputation. And so I want to be that for other people. And so the prosthetist pays me as a consultant to meet and talk with other people. And so here's what happened. There came a time I was sitting with my prosthetist and I says, this other company that makes legs, they have a guy that came and talked to me before I got my leg cut off. And it really helped me. Do you have a guy? And he's like, no, I don't have a guy. I said, I'm your guy because I like to talk to people. I know what happened with me. I know how to tell people, how to help people, how to get people through it. I'm your guy. And so not only do I do that, me and him have paired together because as I was going down that YouTube rabbit hole, I saw people sharing their experience as an amputee, but they don't have any credibility other than the fact that they're an amputee. There's nothing behind their name, doctor-wise or prosthetic. A prosthetist isn't a doctor, but he's got a prosthetist certification. And so me and him have partnered together and are creating a YouTube channel so that people can find the answers when they go down that YouTube rabbit hole. So that's kind of how it happened. And if I hadn't been thinking about that for several months, when the opportunity came up to talk to my prosthetist about it, I wouldn't have said anything. I wouldn't have jumped at that chance. Seneca, he says that luck is when opportunity and preparation meet. And I say, but you have to take action. Even if those two meet, you have to take action. Mm-hmm. But if you don't prepare for it, if you don't think about it, you're not going to take action when the opportunity comes up. And so when that opportunity came up, I was on it.
And you got it. So you were on it, but you got it. But then like the title of your book, because Bart, we're here to help people, and that's your mission also, to help people. But with your mindset, like, you have a beautiful mindset when it comes to side hustles and coming up with ideas on how to monetize whatever it is you're thinking about. How can you help someone that might have a tiny mindset or might have a negative mindset? Well, I can't do this. I mean, how can you help them?
So I would take them through a process. We will make lists. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What do you want to do? Or what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing?
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do? You know, what do you want to learn?
Mm-hmm.
What do you need to learn? Like getting an amputation, I needed to learn what's going to happen to me. What have you already learned? And we'll make these lists, and then we will refine them down to where when we get done, you'll have a list and a handful of opportunities, 3, 4, 5 that you might want to try. And then I'll help you with the obstacles when it comes to fear, because people get in their heads and they can't overcome things. And so I'm really going off on you pretty hard, but I'm going to share another story. So I helped take the first commercial bungee jump to Japan.
Oh,
I am a bungee jump master.
have fun.
And that gave me the authority to push little Japanese people off the top of an 8-story tower. On our busiest day, I assisted 783 people off the top of this tower. But sometimes during the week we were slow, and it was just me alone at the top of this tower with my brilliant mind. And my brilliant mind, they kind of wonder and wander. At the base of my tower was a stuntman airbag. You know, the ones the stuntmen use, they fall into. And in theory, one could jump from the top of this tower, 8 stories up, and hit that airbag and be okay without a bungee cord. And so my mind wondered if I could do that. I'd never seen it done, but it was thinking about it. And I went to the edge and I looked down, and nope, I'm not that crazy.
Oh, I was wondering. I was waiting for that.
But my brilliant mind, and so this is brilliant moving forward. This is crazy. And so my brilliant mind was thinking, okay, I could jump with a bungee cord attached, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then unhook myself from the cord and fall from 6 stories up instead of. And so I enlisted one of my buddies. He came up and I jumped, waited for the bouncing to stop, but the pressure, the tension on the cord was too much. And so I couldn't unhook. And so he let me down. I went back up, and that brilliant mind kept going. When you attach the bungee cord to my customer, you use about a 12-inch nylon strap. It's about 1 inch wide with a carabiner on the end. I could take that, I could hook it onto itself, get another one, hook it onto itself, hook them both on the end of the bungee cord. What do I have? Handles. I could jump just hanging onto the bungee cord with my hands, wait for the bouncing to stop, and then just let go.
Oh boy. So you did.
Brilliant, right?
It sounds brilliant. It wouldn't be for me, but it sounds brilliant.
My dad probably turns in his grave every time I tell that story, because I can't believe I raised a kid so stupid.
No,
so I did. I got there, I got my handles, I went to the edge, and I jumped. I waited for the bouncing to stop, and I let go. And the problem with it is when I'm hanging there, I'm basically at the bottom of a huge rubber band. What's going to happen when I let go? That's exactly what it did. It went up to the top, and it hit the tower with a loud bang. I fell to the mat with a loud slap. And it echoed throughout the park, and everybody came running to see who just died. Wasn't me. I was okay.
Your poor wife.
Well, I wasn't married then. Once I got married, I calmed down. But my poor mom, because I would send her videos of stuff, and she probably had a heart attack every time a video showed up in the mailbox. But the point of this is that I had to make an educated decision. Could I hang on to the bungee cord? I had jumped a million times the regular way. I had felt the pressure. My educated guess was I could do it. Mm-hmm. It was scary. It was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done. It's right up there at the top, next to getting my leg cut off and another couple of things I've done. But I did it because I pushed through the fear. And that's part of having to monetize your mindset. You got to be willing to step out there to see what there is to see, even if you don't know the outcome. And I talk people through this and help them through this. Sometimes all they need, the hardest thing is that first step. And a lot of times that first step is getting through the ideas. Like you said, some people think they don't have any ideas. Mm-hmm. They need a memory jogger. And that's what I've created in my free gift that your audience can have. I want them to have it. It's free. And do you have the link to that?
I can get it because I know where it is.
Do you know where it is? It's offer1.bartmerrell.com, and that's MERREL, like the shoe, /25 for 25. And it's 25 successful side hustle ideas for 2025. And your side hustle may not be on there, but it's going to get you thinking, what? That's a side hustle? Did you know that picking up dog poop is a very lucrative business?
It is. Yes. Even here. Yes.
People that is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just one. And they come with all sorts of levels of entry versus like when you're doing this, you got to decide, okay, what resources is it going to take money wise, time wise? And you're going to have to evaluate time, money, effort. Is it something I can do, that I want to do, that I have those resources? I'll give you one that I passed up. I had the money put together to start one of my favorite Japanese restaurants here in America. I had a backer out of Japan that would fund it for me. But when it came right down to it, I didn't know if I wanted to work that hard.
Oh.
And so I turned it down. I said, no, I don't think I want to work that hard. And you want to know the security on the loan that I had? He said, if it works, we'll split the profits. If it doesn't, you don't owe me anything. I had free money to do this business, but I didn't think I wanted to work that hard.
Right.
Because that's tough. That's a tough business.
Oh, yes. 7 days a week.
So I turned it down. I said, no, I want to go eat there, but I don't want to be making, I don't want to be the owner.
No.
And so it's just, you got to evaluate these things and decide if it's worth the risk, if it's worth the time, the effort, and the money.
Right.
To become a dog trainer, I spent probably $14,000 to get started. But in my first year, I made almost 100,000, and my business partner made right around 50,000, and we both do it part-time.
So, you know, a lot of people, if they made that amount of money, they just quit their jobs, work part-time, and enjoy their lives. So if we can find side hustles, you know, that you enjoy doing, and even working full-time, if you enjoy doing it, the money will come. It's just having this mindset like you have to seek an opportunity. Really, it sounds like you look at an opportunity regardless of what comes across your desk. You think about how you can monetize it. That's a brilliant mind. People
need to think about, even if you don't like it, don't overlook the stuff that you don't like. And when I say the stuff, the life experiences that you don't like. A friend of mine so when I had my leg amputated, one of the prosthetist said, you probably need to go to a grief counselor and grief the loss of your leg. And so my friend is a grief counselor. She's a grief counselor because she lost her son when he was just a teenager.
Wow.
She didn't want to go through that, but she did. And she enjoys helping other people go through it, but she didn't enjoy the experience. So what experiences have you gone through? There's a lot of people that go through addiction recovery, and they end up helping other people go through the addiction recovery process because they didn't like it. They didn't enjoy it. They wanted to become addiction free or become a recovering addict. But they enjoy the process of helping others go through it. And so don't overlook the things that you don't like to do. You've heard the thing, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right?
Yes, good lemonade.
I take it one step further. If I'm making lemonade, I might as well build a lemonade stand and sell the stuff.
That's true. It's a t-shirt.
Is it a t-shirt?
No, you need to make a t-shirt.
I need to make a t-shirt.
That's a good slogan. Okay, if you're going to make the lemonade, what are you going to do with it? And look at your brilliant mind. Let me make a stand so I can sell it. You are brilliant, but what the audience needs to know, you are, because
can I tell you another quick story?
Yes, that don't have the mindset that you do.
And so this all came to me. I was doing a speaking club. Are you familiar with Toastmasters?
Yes, I am.
And so I was doing a speaking club in a drug rehab center. And I was sitting there and I was listening to this girl, Jennifer's story. And she was talking about how growing up, she always thought everybody else's life were just like hers, because when they were out and about, their family was normal and the abuse and the neglect didn't happen until they were home. Until she went to college, she didn't realize that everybody else was different. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's the same when it comes to monetizing your mind. I think I didn't even have the name yet, but I was sitting there, I was thinking, that's the same when it comes to finances. If you didn't grow up with a dad like mine or my dad, you don't think like I do. And that's when it all clicked and said, I need to get this out there, right? Because I've been doing it my whole life naturally. I went to college in accounting because I wanted to get in the FBI. I wanted to go chase serial killers. I went down to help my dad shut down the farm and improve my Spanish. While I was there, I had RK surgery done on my eyes to correct my vision. I got back up to finish college. I had 1 semester left and started the application into the FBI, and I find out that surgery automatically disqualified me. I don't like accounting. I'm not good at accounting. I pay someone a lot of money to do my taxes. I was devastated. And that's when a buddy who worked for the bungee tower company says, hey, do you want to go back to Japan? And I was an adrenaline junkie. And I said, yes. Yeah, sure. That's how it all started. I'm not getting into what I wanted to do. I just started taking advantages of the opportunities that came in front of me. And then I put it to serious work when I was sitting in that drug rehab center helping people learn how to speak. And Jen was telling her story. And it just hit me. And I just I got something. I've done this my whole life. It's just we talk about rich dad, poor dad. My dad was the rich dad, the man next door, or the millionaire next door. But then when he died, he was poor dad because he was a millionaire on paper, but he was cash flow negative. And so I had both dads in the same dad.
And you would think with a farm that large, he would have had plenty of cash. That's when you find that out, all you can do is laugh. I mean, that's all you can do. Because Bart, people would look and say, oh my gosh, they have that many pigs on a farm that big. He is loaded. But you said he died with no cash.
I mean, on paper, he had property, but there was no more pigs and no more cash coming in. But he always wanted to sell the pig farm for more than it was worth, or more than people thought it was worth. And then it turns out, farm we sold for $235,000 was worth over $1 million, just like that.
And it was right under his nose.
Right under his nose.
Yeah. So I'm like, we just have to stress that we have to slow down. We really have to slow down and look at the opportunities that are here for us. But Bart, I feel like I will be doing a disservice to myself and also to my listeners if you don't share with us the purpose. Why did you write this book? Why?
Because I wanted to share what I do, because when people have things happen, they're devastated, whether it's losing a job, whether it's, coming down with cancer. I also like to throw in that, Steve Jobs got cancer, had all the money in the world.
Yes.
And it couldn't save his life, but it gave him options. It gave him options to be more comfortable as he went through it. And that's what I like to help people do, is just to have that financial security so they don't have to worry about what happens when what happens, because it will happen. Yes, you just don't know when or what or where.
But it is going to happen. It's life. It's going to happen. Yeah. It don't matter what race you are. It doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor. It's going to happen. So you just might as well prepare yourself, because it's going to happen.
And so I want to share just one more quick thing. I know we're probably running over time.
Well, that's okay.
So one of my businesses, one of my side hustles, it's kind of funny. I'm in Japan doing the bungee jump thing. I'm going to the gym to work out. And in Japan, so I'm 6'4", 200, 220. I'm a big guy in Japan. Not so big in America, but if I go to the gym in Japan, I'm the biggest one there. And I'm a gringo, or a gaijin. In Japanese is called a gaijin. And nobody except the staff of the gym would talk to me. And about 2 weeks of being there on a regular basis, this one guy comes up to me. He goes, "Hello." And I said, "Hello." And then I started speaking to him in Japanese, and he's like, "Whew, I'm glad you speak Japanese, because I was done at hello." Anyway, you fast forward a couple of years. He's a big rig driver. He drove the big trucks in Japan. And he said, "I want to stop driving truck, and I want to start importing camping trailers and Dodge and Ram diesel pickups from America. Will you help me?" I didn't know how to do it. He didn't know how to do it. We helped each other. We started a business in 1997, and we've been going ever since. Now, the turning point in this story, the sad point in this story, is just a month and a half ago, he went from talking to me one day to barely being able to talk 3 days later to being in the hospital, unable to talk, unable to move. He has some sort of autoimmune disorder that he may or may not recover from. Right. I talked to his wife the other day. He has at least 6 months in the hospital, and she doesn't know if he's going to recover. I'm sad for him. I'm sad for his wife and the situation she might be in. But for me, this is a side hustle that can be $0 to $50,000 in any month. It depends on the sales. And he's my guy. He is a one-man show. He is my only guy. The fear of losing that income has not caused me one sleepless night because I have other income streams. Now let's backtrack. Let's backtrack to, I don't remember when it was. It was probably somewhere around 2010. Mm-hmm. My wife was watching Japanese television. She was watching this thing about the next big earthquake that was going to hit Japan. It could hit at any time. She comes up, she's just like, you need to come and watch this with me. And I'm like, why would I want to watch that? There's nothing I can do about it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It doesn't help me. Just her mentioning that to me caused a sleepless night, a couple of them, because if that happens, Japanese income was my main income. I don't remember if it was my only other. I mean, I might have had my apartment rental and stuff like that, but it was my main income. It caused me a sleepless night, just her talking about that. My guy is down. My guy cannot move. I feel for him and I feel for his wife, but as far as business and worry about finances, it's not there. That's the contrast between then and now. Just because I'm doing multiple things and monetizing whatever comes across my path that I can monetize. That's why I do this, because I want people to have that stress relief that I do when things happen. And you may still have a little bit of worry, but it's not going to be a devastating worry.
Right, like make me sick. Oh, it makes plenty of sense. Like it's not that kind of worry to where you're going to be so worried that you can't even lay in your bed. You have to get up and walk the floor all night. Yes. It runs your blood pressure up. You having road rage because you're in panic. So it makes a difference. But you said a big word when you talked about Steve Jobs. Options. Because you have multiple streams of income, I'm pretty sure your life is not consumed by debt. You manage your money well because you're so brilliant. You have options. And I'm so sorry what happened to your business partner, but you don't have to go out now and put in applications. You don't have to hide fear and worry from your wife. You're okay. If the business goes, you're okay because you have multiple streams of income.
And the way I think, I wouldn't go out and put in applications. I would just think of another way to make money, which I do on a natural basis now. So I know I'm bombarding you with stories.
No.
After 2000, after 9/11. So in 2002, I lost probably close to $300,000 and $310,000 because of businesses that went bad after 9/11. I was this close to bankruptcy. And so what do you do? What do you do when you're this close to bankruptcy? Well, I was in the trailer business with my buddy. You know, we were doing pretty good that way. I went out and I bought me a brand new Ford pickup.
Oh, wow.
I started pulling camping trailers from manufacturer to dealer nationwide. And that's what saved my butt. I didn't enjoy it, but it was something I could do. And so the credit bureaus, they didn't know I was this close to bankruptcy. And so I bought a $40,000 1-ton truck and I hit the road. I didn't have the contract to pull the trailers until I had the truck. So I had to buy the truck before I had the contract, drive from Utah to Indiana, get the contract, and then start pulling trailers. And so that's even before I had the concept of monetize your mindset. That's how I thought. And that's how I did things.
Wow. And see, that was an idea. So like, instead of filing for bankruptcy, you figured out a way to save your hide.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And I hated the people that lost my money as I was driving on that truck, thinking about road rage. Oh, I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it. I would rather be in bed with, in my home with my wife by my side, but no, I'm sleeping in my truck or sleeping in a hotel room.
Right.
And And I did that for probably 3.5 years to save my behind.
To dig yourself out.
Yep.
Well, because you are
and so that's you just got to think about things. I had no idea until I was put in that situation. And then I was like, let me call and check on this. And I called and checked on that. Yeah, well, you got to have a truck and you got to tell us what your truck is. You got to come out here and interview and make sure we want you driving for us. So I had to go buy a truck, go out there. And anyway.
But you did it and you didn't file bankruptcy, but it's still because you figured out a way. So what I need the listeners to understand is, even listening to you, you have to figure out a way. And anytime anything comes across, really, you need to start thinking, how can I monetize this? Like, even consider, how can I monetize it and it not cost me a whole lot of money?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you have provided great information. But before we say goodbye, can you share like 2 or 3 things of wisdom that you would like to leave with the listeners as far as it comes to monetizing their mindset?
So like I said at the beginning, it is natural for me. It just happens automatically. And so the way I outline it is, what do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? That's where you start. You just start. It's a memory jogger. It helps you get things flowing, get the 25 for 25 list that I've created. That's going to get you flowing, and it's free, costs you nothing. And all you do is just start to think, and then you put the list down and you decide what can I, and I have a process that I take people through to refine the list to where the ones that are on the top of your final list are the ones that are probably most likely you should try them first. And we base that upon the resources, whether you like it or not, what's it going to take to do it? How fast can you turn it into a stream of income? I thought the weight loss thing was going to be quick money. And it took me 8 years to find something that worked for me, because everything was about getting your butt to the gym and dieting. And I didn't want to do that. I went to the gym. I paid for 3 years of membership and I never went back again. And so when I finally found something that was my friend from California, she calls me up. She's like, Bart, I found this thing. It's great. It's amazing. You can try it. And if you don't like it, you get your money back. It's amazing. I'm like, Beth, what is it? She says, it's a 10-day. They called it the 10-day celebrity transformation cleanse. And I said, Beth, I want to do it. I want to do a 10-day cleanse. Like, I want a colonoscopy, and that's not very bad.
Right. We don't.
And she said, she was pretty quick on her feet. She's like, well, at your age, you probably need both.
Right.
And I've had both, and I did 4 of those cleanses in 2 months and 5 days, lost 50 pounds. And I was back to my wedding weight. So my wife was getting what she bargained for. Wow.
But did you keep it off?
I have probably put back on 15 to 20 pounds.
Still not 50.
So I've put back on a little bit, but and if I need to do a maintenance cleanse, I do a maintenance cleanse and it comes off. And so I just kind of stay in an area that I want to be. I wish I was a little bit better, but I stay in that area.
Okay, well, that's good.
And the thing about it is, it's not about the miracle product. It's not about that. It's that I made money doing something that I didn't want to do. It was something that I needed to do. And so that's the point. What do you like to do? What do you need to do? What are you already doing? Can you monetize 1, 2, even 3 of those things to make your life a little bit easier?
So Bart, please tell the audience where they can find you, and let's see that book again, because we need people to buy it.
It is Monetize Your Mindset. You can get it on Amazon or at bartmerrell.com. You can find me on Facebook at Bart Merrell. On YouTube, my YouTube channel that I just started a week ago is called Bart Merrell, the Side Hustle Samurai. I'm just going to be putting things out, 3 or 4 videos a week, just trying to help people and get people to monetize their mindset and think about stuff that they don't think about. Wow. So that's the best places to find me. Okay. bartmerrell.com. And yeah.
Name of the book one more time.
Monetize Your Mindset.
Okay, well, Bart, thank you so much for joining me on Bartell's Money Talk. This has been amazing. You even got my brain juices flowing. So I look forward to us hosting you again.
Awesome. That would be so amazing. I have more stories.
When listeners too, we have to bring him back on for more stories because they're captivating. So if you enjoy the content, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will be here every week bringing you tips and ideologies about money. Again, thank you so much for watching.